All right, before we start, does anybody have any questions about balance?
How do I get balance?
How do you get balance? Great question. Might be the whole topic of the thing. Karen, what was your question?
I didn't have a question.
Oh, I think you raised your hand.
I know I was probably going like this.
Oh, what is that? Any questions at all? Specific ones, whether to yourself or anybody else? Well, there you go. That's the best thing. That's why we're talking about this.
Good balance or bad balance?
We're going to talk about that. So we're going to. Yes, ma'am.
What about just when you're walking?
Yeah. Like you kind of veer over a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is actually a really great question, and we're going to talk about that because I think that will lead in a little bit later on. But it's very important because that actually tells you that you have an area of balance to work on, and which way you veer tells you which side you need to work on too. So you'll learn anything you want today. I got you. Just make sure this is going, and then so as all you guys know, I work for yes.
Question for Brent. When she veers, is that a brain action or is that a body action?
Could be either one. Yeah, so basically what we're going to talk about today is just balance as a whole. So I work with Fox Rehab in the building as a PT, but I have my own side business I do called Science of Falling. It's only about balance and falling. I love that stuff. I'm a very big nerd, and I write articles. I got like 90 to 100 articles on my website all about balance. So I like this stuff. I know this stuff. So any questions you got, I probably can answer. If not, I can get you an answer at some point. So what we're going to talk about today is just what is balance. Yes, ma'am.
How do we get your website?
I will give it to you afterwards. Anything you want. I got cards. I can write it down or whatever you need. Oh, the thing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right. I love the beeping. It really helps out. All right. So the website that I run is called Science of Falling. I sell balance programs and stuff. If you guys want it, I'll give it to you for free. So no one has to buy anything. But I don't know if you guys even want it. But essentially, balance is your body's ability to coordinate all the muscles and the information that you feel from the world around you and keep you standing still so you're not falling down every second. And so there's three systems of balance. You have your eyes, okay? You have what you feel, your feet basically on the ground. That's the biggest part of it. And then you also have something called your vestibular system. Has anybody heard of vertigo or anything like that, right? Has anybody had it before? Yeah, okay, so you know how bad it is. The whole world gets topsy-turvy, right? It's awful. So there's lots of different, I don't want to say diseases, but pathologies you can get for your vestibular system, and that lives in your ear, like right around this area. Really cool bony structure. It's like it has little bunch loopy loops and these little sacs. It's really cool to see, but it focuses on you turning your head up and down, and if you go forwards, backwards, or up and down, that thing tells you where you are in space. Your vision, when you're looking around, right, you have all these vertical lines around us, and your vision tells you what's up, what's down, what's level, and it uses that information in your brain to figure out how to adjust which way you're going. And then your feet, if you feel the ground, feels flat, right? If I go on this, without looking, I can tell my foot is upwards. So people with neuropathy, they don't get that sensation. They don't know if my foot is up. Your brain has no idea that your foot is upward. So that's why people lose ability to balance if they have something like diabetic neuropathy or idiopathic neuropathy, which is, we just don't know what causes it. I'm sure somebody in here has neuropathy. Do you all know somebody with neuropathy? Or have heard of that word?
Yes. Explain that.
I will explain the words now, yeah. So neuropathy is essentially, it's kind of like in a aggressive way of saying it, a dying off of the nerves, oftentimes in your legs and your feet, that makes you lose the sensation. So that sensation might turn into just numbness. It might turn into you feel like you're walking on pillows. You might even get some sharp burning or electric pain in your feet. And that's neuropathy. Oftentimes diabetes is the cause of it because all that extra sugar that we take in with diabetes and your body can't handle it, it starts eating away at those nerves a little bit. So it's a pretty aggressive disease you can get. But many people in this building have neuropathy. They just can't feel what's going on. And your shoes can affect that as well. But that's basically balance in a nutshell. It's going to be three systems: your vision, what you feel, and then your vestibular system, which is probably the most unique one of the three. But if you have a problem in any one of those systems, so if you have any vision problems like glaucoma, cataracts, glasses, right, it can affect your vision. And then you don't get an accurate picture of the world. So when you're looking around, if it's like a little darker, right? And you can't see the level of the ground or something, or in the shower, you close your eyes, you're washing your hair, you could fall over if you're really depend on your vision, or if your vision's not that great. So as a short little story, I knew a lady in Chelmsford. She had a lot of vestibular problems. So her brain couldn't interpret which way she was really moving her head at all. And she over-relied on her eyes. She had to look and see the world to make sure she stayed stable. The minute she closed her eyes, not even the minute, this millisecond, she would close her eyes and she would instantly fall backwards. Had no idea it was happening until she was already almost vertical down or horizontal. So it's really important when you have these three systems, eyes, your feeling, and your vestibular system. If one of them is a little wonky, you got to fix it, or you got to at least try to compensate for it, or else big problems can happen. In this building recently, I was talking to a lady who has eye problems, also has neuropathy, has arthritis in her knees, so she's hurting, and she has a history of vestibular problems in her inner ear, and so she was kind of hit on all ends. And her question was, well, if I have all these problems, how am I ever going to learn to balance? Well, just because you have problems in one of these systems doesn't mean you can't compensate for it and teach your brain to get better. Because all that information, your eyes, your inner ear with the vestibular system, and your feet, that all goes to your brain, and your brain figures out what to do with it. When you're balancing, right? Casey, come on over. I'm going to use you. And stand in like a position. Well, you know what? I know it's kind of hard for you. Stand on your toe like that. So you can see Casey can do it, right? But she is wobbling a little bit and falls over, and she did a nice little stepping thing. So that wobble means her brain is okay at it, but every wobble is your brain saying, which muscles do I turn on, for how long, and in what order? Yeah, you can switch. That's really tough. She's tough. And in what order? So when you wobble, it's tough. Now, the good news is if Casey did this, she does, doesn't she?
That's why.
Are you right-handed?
Yeah.
Do you kick a ball with your right foot?
I don't know.
If you were to kick a ball,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
You're
Yeah.
left-handed.
So you might be opposite, actually, Si. It might.
I'm right-handed, but I do different things.
Oh.
I play sports left-handed.
Yeah.
I paint it right-handed.
I think that's more of an artist thing. A lot of artists can do both because they figure out how to do it. But so that's actually pretty interesting. So if Casey were to kick a ball, most people don't realize it's about their body. She would probably kick with the right? And when you're riding, you'd use your right hand, right? If you're cooking, which hand do you grab the pot with? Which hand do you stir the pot with? You're cooking up mac and cheese. What are you doing? Oh, she doesn't kick a ball. She doesn't cook.
I'm a lady of leisure.
Oh my gosh. Oh my
I
gosh.
would probably start with my right hand. I think I do most things with my right hand. Yeah.
So if we look at it, her whole right side of her body is stirring, doing something. It's the movement. It's the fine movement. It controls what's happening. The other side is the stable side, holding the pot, keeping it stable. She's good at balance on that side. So kicking the ball, she would stay on that leg and then kick. So we are not only right or left-handed, but we're right or left dominant for balance and doing things that are a little more fine-tuned. Most of us never realize we do that our entire life. But that is why oftentimes you might be a little better at balance on one side than the other, because you're just prone to do that. That's how your body is designed, being right-handed, left-handed, whatever it might be. Make sense?
Yep.
Yeah, cool. All right, you're done. You can leave. You can leave. I might bring you back in a second, though, so don't get too comfortable. So all that being said so far, I know it's a lot of information. Questions yet? Anything that seems interesting or questions that popped up in your head?
Balance hereditary.
That's a great question. I've never gotten that question before. Is balance hereditary? And I can even, that's really interesting. I think in some cases, if you're talking about like diseases, so if you get, if someone were to come down with Parkinson's or MS or ALS or something, yeah, your balance is going to be affected because you have this disease.
My family was a bit unbalanced.
Unbalanced, yeah. So, in what ways, Si? We got to ask what ways were they unbalanced. That's, yeah. So to Si's point too, sometimes it's not hereditary. So sometimes it's not in our genes, but a lot of problems people get, balance could be included in this, might be what we say familial. So it's family oriented because your family, your parents give you certain habits. So maybe you're from a family that doesn't like to exercise, sits down a lot, and never really challenges the balance throughout your entire life. And as you get older, you're more prone to losing it because you just haven't maintained it, right? And then if you're from a family that is really athletic, loves doing the yearly turkey trot during Thanksgiving, right? Well, you're just going to naturally challenge it more. So you'll be able to preserve it longer. Does that make sense? That's a great question. I've never heard that. Now I got to look into that a little more.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah. Do you know what the balance issue was, or just unbalanced? That's okay. Yeah. What was that? A little unbalanced. I know. We got to say what kind of imbalance is what we're talking about. But yeah, that's a great question. But it's let's follow that. Yeah, and sometimes there's an undiagnosed issue going on. So again, if you're talking about the three systems of balance, eyes, vestibular system, what you feel, those might be fine. Maybe there is no neuropathy. Maybe the eyes are perfect. You got 20/20 vision. And maybe you've never had any vertigo or any other kind of thing within your ear, but maybe the brain is having a problem taking all the information and doing something. So somebody with a concussion, people with Alzheimer's and dementia and stuff like that, your brain is affected, right? So that's the integration center. That's the command center. If it doesn't know how to use the information, it can get the best information in the world, but if it doesn't use it correctly, you can fall down. So there are a lot of brain disorders, especially kind of like in the back of the head, that if you hit your head, if you fall riding a bike as a kid or something, you could just be a little discombobulated if you don't work on it and try to improve it. Does that make sense? So oftentimes that stuff's undiagnosed. There's an issue that someone's just never found out or worked on. Vestibular system issues often go unfound because people just don't really understand it very much. Yeah, so that's part of the vestibular system, looking up and looking down, looking left and right. You might get a little dizzy if you're not used to it. The interesting thing about the vestibular system, you can actually see what's going on with your balance through your eyes. So has anybody heard of a it's pretty common, most people know the name, BPPV? Probably doesn't sound familiar at all, right? BPPV, benign positional proximal vertigo. Yeah, but don't worry about it. Don't worry. Essentially what it is there's been a couple people in this building I've treated for it. It's a very short-lived pathology if it's taken care of. So essentially, I got to give you a little anatomy. In your ear, right here, right? That's the vestibular system. There's these little loop-de-loops, and they control you understanding which way you move your head up and down. Then there's these little sacs. We'll call them sacs, and they have rocks in them. Those rocks get pulled down with gravity, and it tells you, am I accelerating upwards? Am I going forwards, backwards? And they kind of allow you to figure out which way you're moving, not just are you rotating or not. Those little rocks can come dislodged, and they can get into those little circular canals. And now when you turn your head, it messes with you. And when you stop turning, your brain still thinks you're turning around. So like vertigo type stuff. And so what happens is we got to get those rocks out, and then we move somebody's head. But the point of this is when they turn that head and they feel dizzy and they feel like they want to throw up, their eyes will actually go back and forth. You can physically see the balance problem in someone's eyes. So a lot of times when someone has a balance problem, they should be checked for this vertigo type stuff and see if their eyes are going side to side, up or down, round and round. And depending on which way the eyes move, it tells you you have a brain problem, an inner ear problem, or is there something, a mix of that going on? So it's very interesting, and almost no one knows about that. That's why a lot of people go undiagnosed, like your mom, with those balance issues. Sometimes it was a vestibular problem the whole time, but they may have not had the knowledge back when she was having all these issues to really even look at it. Yep.
Is that treated by additionally trying to?
It can, yeah. So like vertigo is one type of pathology, and it's more of a symptom of pathologies. And then that BPPV, the very fancy term I said, that is treated purely by rotating your body in a certain way. And we're physically moving those little rocks through these loop-de-loops to get them out of there, and then we solve the problem. So you can literally solve a problem that plagues people, makes them fall down, get injured within 2 minutes sometimes. So it could be something that someone's dealt with for a long time. You do these little positions, good, you're all done. Have a good day, don't fall again. So very interesting. All right, let's get to Hattie's question from earlier. So when you're walking, right, which way is the veering normally? Do you know?
Which way is what?
Oh, you weren't here, Sai. Hattie asked a question earlier, and she said, when I'm walking, I tend to veer, kind of move over. I'm sure a lot of people have experienced that to some degree. Is it always to the left?
No.
It kind of varies sometimes?
I have long legs.
Yep.
And I walk fast.
Mhm.
And when I'm walking fast,
Yeah.
down, I feel like this. Veering.
You're losing the balance a little bit. Yeah. Okay. So you kind of go to the left.
Yeah.
That totally makes sense. So speed, number one thing about balance, speed covers it up. If you have imbalance and you're going to fall over, if you go fast, your balance will feel better. You know why? Because every time you go to the next foot, you're actually just falling and catching yourself, and you get a chance to readjust. When Hattie slows down, she all of a sudden has to balance a little longer on each foot, so she has more of a chance to lose the balance. So she will probably notice, and correct me if I'm wrong, when you go fast, you can stay pretty straight. Maybe a little bit of veer, but nothing crazy. When you go slow, you probably do something like this. You'll find yourself veering over, you'll recorrect a little bit, veer over, recorrect. Is that about right? Yeah. So what's happening is your balance on your right side is not as good as the left side. So as you step, again, correct me if I'm wrong, when you step on your right side and you have that momentary kind of balance on the right, you actually lose it a little bit. So your brain wants to keep you safe. You don't want to fall, right? So it says, oh, let's take a big step out to the left and catch ourselves. And that's that veer. You might do it 2-3 times in a row before you really notice it. And then you recorrect with a big step to the right. Now you're back on the path you were going, and you just continue to do that. The good news is you're not falling down. The great news is your body's telling you we should work on this, but it is a sign of imbalance on that right side. How do you work on it? Great question, Sai. Casey, come on in. So now we talked a little bit about the basics of balance. Let's talk about how I like to do a basic screening for balance and figure out where you guys and any one person actually needs work on. So keep it in mind, we have those 3 systems of balance. I'm going to test Casey from the very easiest thing to the very hardest thing on all 3 systems. So we're going to mess with our eyes. We're going to mess with the vestibular system by making her turn her head in different ways. And the whole time she's on the ground, so she's feeling. And if she has neuropathy or something, then she will.
Shoes have no traction. Maybe that's my neuropathy.
Do you want to take them off?
Well,
No, it's okay.
It's a test.
All right. Zelma?
The other thing that's interesting to me is the hands help you with balance too. So I'm thinking with them in her pocket.
Yeah, we get a more, so when we have them in the pocket, we get a better pure sense of her balance ability because, just like a tightrope walker, right? They have those long, long beams. It just basically increases your center of gravity and your base of support. It just changes what that is like. And so now we can balance. So if I'm standing on one leg and I do this, well, I can just move my arms and it shifts my center of mass a little bit over to stay over my foot instead of me doing this from my hips. So when we test, I like to keep the hands pretty close. If it's somebody we just know has normal balance problems, I'll let them do whatever the heck they want. I'll let them flail their arms and look like a turkey. I don't care. But all right. Okay. Yeah, good. So I like to test people out just standing to get a baseline. Feet are going to be apart at first, so about shoulder width. I call this the very, very basic balance. If you can't stand like this, you shouldn't be standing up at this point. You should be sitting down immediately. And what we're going to do here, I just have her stand there for 10, 15 seconds, make sure she's not wobbling. Casey's got really good balance, so we're not going to worry about this. After that, I'm going to be behind her for protection, and you're going to turn your head to the left and right 5 times. So if she had a problem with her vestibular system or her vision possibly, she might start doing this sway side to side because her brain is saying, oh, I'm going to go this way. Oh, I'm going to go this way. Harder though, right? Yeah. And now we're going to do up and down. So looking to the ceiling, looking all the way down. Same thing here. If she had problems, she might be going back and forth. And that's me here seeing, okay, we got to work on the vestibular system. Pretty easy. Good? Yep. Itch?
Yep.
All right. Now, same thing. Look straight. Close your eyes. And now we take her vision completely away. So if she is over relying on her eyes to balance, if she really needs that vision to understand where the world is, Just like that lady I was telling you guys about before who would fall over when she closed her eyes, she would be swaying a lot more. Casey's amazing, easy. So that is literally my entire balance screen. The only thing I'm going to change is her foot position. So we're going to make these feet get smaller and smaller and smaller and make the balance challenge harder. So we start exposing some of our issues. So feet are together. That would be the next stage. It's going to be too easy for you. Good. Up and down. Simple.
Yeah.
Go straight. Eyes closed.
I feel like I'm wobbling a little now.
Nah, not really.
Yeah,
You
my
can't see it.
skills are.
If we really wanted to mess with it, right? Let's say we really want to just mess with everything. Have her close her eyes, turn your head left to right. And now her vestibular system is being a little messed with. Her eyes are closed. Really, the only thing she's using a lot of is what she feels on the ground. But Casey's amazing, so we're not going to have any problems. All right, open your eyes. Okay, those are the two basics. So feet apart, feet together. Those I call just the bottom of the balance. If you do both of those, I'm pretty happy and don't have anything too terrible to worry about. If people can't do that, which there are some people in this building that struggle with that, you are at a super high risk of falling, and you really shouldn't be walking around without anything less than a walker, if even a walker might be dangerous in some cases, right? All right, the next version is you're gonna take your heel and you're gonna put it into the arch of your foot. Now, because Casey kicks with her right, I'm gonna assume she's good with balance with her left. So see what foot is back? The left foot is back. Kind of like a motor in a boat. The foot that's back is going to be doing most of the work. So I'm actually helping her out here. I'm helping her have her strong foot back. And we go through the same thing. Head turns. Up and down. And we have a little more wobble, but nothing crazy. Eyes are closed, right? And still very faint wobbles. Okay.
Twisting that way.
Good. That's all right. That's fine. Nothing crazy. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
Then we go up to the next one. Now, this next one is the most important in my opinion. Heel to toe. You're just going to stand there like you're on a tightrope. Now, there's some research that if somebody can stand like this on both sides for at least 10 seconds and you look like we do, like statues, you pretty much don't need a walker. You pretty much probably don't need a cane because this is just an extreme version of a walking position, right? So this is a big goal for a lot of people to work with. We want to get to this position because the ultimate goal for everybody in this place is to get off whatever you're using to walk around with, right? We don't like using canes and walkers. We might be okay with it, but we don't necessarily enjoy it. So, she is frozen, I know. I pressed pause on the remote.
Feel it wobbling. You can see it.
Yeah, so
Point out that she's in her 30s and in her 80s. So there is a difference.
well, there is a big difference, right? And that's why I'm using Casey and not one of you guys demonstrators because she can make it through all the stages. I'm sure some of you guys can too, but all right, now we go through the head turns, right? And if you notice, Casey has to go a lot.
Face this way so they can see my leg moving.
If you want, go ahead. If you notice too, look at Casey's head. She has to go a lot slower to maintain this, which means she's given her brain and her inner ear more time to figure out what's going on. If she goes faster, go sideways fast.
Yeah.
She's going to lose it if she goes too fast, right? Yeah. So speed is a way we can mess with this too. All right. Go forward again. Heel toe. Yep. Don't fall already. Come on. Yeah, that works.
Wait,
all right.
no, this one. This one I haven't done yet. I can feel it. Ooh, okay.
All right, now go up and down with your head. Now up and down is hard, but it's not nearly as hard as side to side because her feet are in a straight line. And she goes up and down, her body's probably more prone to go forwards and backwards. She has a lot more runway forwards and backwards versus sideways is not much.
More balance on her left leg.
Well, she does, and that's that left leg behind. So her left leg's in front right now.
Barely doing it.
Yeah, so that right leg's behind.
Using her right leg for balance.
Exactly,
That's why I'm wobbling.
and that's why she's wobbling more. She wanted to test herself out on both sides.
Yeah, I need to even it out.
Casey's experimenting right now. But yeah, good catch, Sai. Great catch. So right now, and I don't know the exact percentages, but I always tell people it's about a 60% work on the back, 40% on the front. So that back side, we're testing out more. So for someone like Hattie, which we know veers a little bit going one way, right? I might actually test each side and see if my hypothesis that the right leg is a little bit worse is correct or not. And if we find that out, we just give that right leg a little more love with the balance exercises. Does that make sense? All right, now close your eyes. So as we can see, she's working. She's a little bit, imbalanced, but she's holding it the whole time. So I would not worry about her. She's got fantastic balance. You don't need a walker. You're doing great. But one thing that I want you guys to know here is, and this is something that we would work on with someone who had trouble with this stuff, is her hip, right there, Casey. No, well, her hips, this little muscle right here, we got a muscle called the gluteus medius. So we got our big booty muscle, the glute muscle. This guy is gluteus medius, middle glute. It does a lot to stabilize the hips, and a lot of balance comes from the hips. Now, if Casey was doing this side to side, but she was able to stay balanced, well, we got to work on that hip muscle quite a bit. And for anybody here, sorry. I can stand normal if you want. I know, is your leg burning a little bit? Yeah, it's not easy work. So if we found that out and she's losing a lot of hip stability there doing this thing, which a lot of people here do, what we got to do is work on that muscle. That muscle can be worked in a couple different ways. The easiest way that I like the best is you go to this bar right here, you just walk sideways, works that muscle out. If you need more challenge, we put a little band around your ankles and you keep on going. Super simple, super safe, and it will improve your balance without a risk of falling.
Do you do leg lifts at all?
Leg lifts are another way, yeah. So if you watch me, if I go sideways, right? Well, what am I really doing? I'm doing a leg lift, sideways. That's all it is.
So you could stand there.
You could stand there and do that, and then in that way, we put any more challenge, you put an ankle weight around you, and you go around. And so it's a really easy, safe way to improve balance without doing crazy stuff that's more risky, right? Like one thing I told Casey coming in here, I was like, I'm kind of worried people are going to want to balance during this because I can't protect everybody. But doing something like that, you could do on your own, even if you don't know what your balance problem is, safe, it might improve your balance significantly, and there's no risk of falling. Make sense? Yeah? All right, we'll go to the final piece here. Single leg, the ultimate standing. And we can always get crazier like the beam I have over here, but so single leg, let's go on your left side.
So lift up the right.
Yeah. I was going to try not to do the same side because I don't want to bump into you. So if you're coming up there, right, now we do the same thing. So turning left to right. Just watch your hip, see if it starts dropping at all. You are going a lot slower, right? So your brain kind of has some limiters on it. It knows where you might have some trouble, and it's making, Casey's not intentionally going slower at first, at least. Her brain just is throttling down, right? You got like a lawnmower or something that has like bunny rabbit and turtle speed. Her brain says, we're going turtle speed because we can't figure this out. So let's slow it down. Up and down. Now she's pretty, her eyes are open right now.
Oh yeah.
She's just focused. And see, we see that she's standing on this side. The hip was going a little bit, but nothing crazy. And then look straight. Find your balance first. Close your eyes. And then we go down, right? Now try that again for me real quick. There's something interesting that most people don't realize they do. Is your eye closed?
Oh no, not yet. No.
Yeah, close them. Can I mess with you a little bit? All right, so watch where she steps out, right? That was the second time. I did push her that way, so that was a little bit unfair. But
the first time I went.
yeah, many people, when they're standing on one leg and they know, their brain knows they can't hold the balance, they're going to step away from that balance leg. They're always going to step out. And if people do it, they're really trying to balance, they'll kind of do this thing. I call it tap dancing. They're dancing the whole time, right? What's happening is their brain knows, I don't think I can catch myself if I fall this way, because that leg's in the way, right? It's a hard.
You're on your left leg and you're so left. How do you support yourself?
It's a great question, Si. So it's something that once we get to this level, I always work on that, because once we know how to protect ourselves, we actually get better balance. Our brain takes that limiter off and says, oh, I know how to protect myself. Let's let Casey do something weird like this and play with her balance and actually stay up longer. What's happening is your brain knows you can't catch yourself. So it makes you bail out faster. It says, you know what? Let's just bail out and save ourselves first instead of letting you fight for the balance. So how we fix that, Si, is we do something called the stroll, the karaoke, or grapevine. Do any of those names ring a bell to anybody? Anna's like, I know the stroll. So it looks something like this. And this is something I would do in like gym class, but what is it, 20s? No, 40s, 50s? 50s. It's this series of, sorry, Casey, cross-stepping, right? And it's a little dance, kind of like, I always call it salsa dancing. We're moving around, but watch what happens. If I'm balancing and I lose my balance this way, I can catch myself. If I fall this way and for some reason I have to turn backwards, I can catch myself. So when someone has that problem, they're tap dancing, I just say, let's go dance for a little bit. Throw some music on. Let's just work on.
And we walk through that so quickly in our 80s and 90s?
That's a great question.
You know, that's
Usually not at first. Usually not at first. That's why when I'm teaching that, we do a couple things. We start off really slow. We just kind of say, all right, let's just work on the pattern. Let's just get the brain used to what those feet have to do. For some people, that can take up to 3 sessions with me. It's just it's a dance move, right? If you're not a dancer, you might be having some trouble. So we got to get the rhythm. After that, it's about learning to take quick steps. And those quick steps are a mix of 2 different things, your strength and your speed. If you're not strong, you can't move quick. If you're not fast, it doesn't matter how strong you are, you're not going to go anywhere. So you work on all those components separately, so that we work on, I can do this, and then we really work on going fast. And then what will happen, Casey, come here. Are you ready for something a little scary?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you just step over sideways just a bit? I'm going to be very gentle with you.
Okay.
And I'm going to have you do this basic first, and then we'll try a cross step if you feel comfortable.
Okay.
So put your feet together. You're going to step out with this leg, okay? Lean into my. No, I'm not going to push you. You're going to fall though. No.
What do you mean I'm going to fall?
You're going to fall.
Where am I going to fall?
You're going to fall. You're going to fall towards me. I will catch you. I promise. Yeah. Give her a mattress. Okay. So what's going to happen is you're going to lean into my hands very slightly. I will not be aggressive with you. I'm going to tell you when I'm going to drop you. I'm going to drop you and you're going to step out real quick.
Step out.
Yes.
Okay.
And if you fail, I will catch you. I promise. All right. If not, it's on video. You can sue me all you want.
Okay.
All right. Are you ready? Lean into my hands. I'm going to drop you. Ready? 1, 2, 3. And so she drops out, right? So that is the ultimate thing, because what happens is, for people that are worried about falling, what's the best way to make sure that we fall safely? We practice falling safely. That literally, as you felt, that was a real fall. You felt like you were falling, right? Yeah. But you saved yourself. Do you feel comfortable doing that cross step, or do you think it'd be weird? Do me a couple cross steps, just without me. Someone's a line dancer.
We still did this in elementary school in practice.
I know it.
Fine.
So you got it. All right.
But I don't know if I would naturally do that if I'm falling.
You wouldn't.
Okay.
That's why you train it. So when I'm training these are called stepping reactions. This is a natural thing our body does, but we don't naturally fall crossing. Right. When does crossing matter? Well, I used to take these videos of people falling, and I would break them down. I'd say how people would make them better. There was a video of this older gentleman. He must have been 60s, 70s, with a little dog. The dog got wrapped up in his leg, and he was falling. He didn't want to step on the dog. The dog was on this leg. And so what did he do? He had to step over and do that. The problem was he didn't know what to do after that first step. So he went to the ground pretty hard, right? So you do that, or you're walking, you're doing something, you step on your own foot. Now that back foot is stuck, so you have to figure out what to do. So cross-stepping, it doesn't happen often, but when it does, you got to be ready for it, or it's a guaranteed fall, right? And so when you're doing this, when she fell sideways, she did 2 steps technically, but most people will do 1 step. When you're falling and you got a cross step, it's a guaranteed 2 steps. So you got to get that second foot out, right? You want to try it? You don't have to. It is a little scary.
But, okay.
I will catch you, I promise. So feet together. I'm giving you a small fall on this one, okay? Ready?
So that I'm going to step. What am I doing?
Did anybody see she got scared? She pushed her hips back?
Oh, yeah. I'm doing the fancy move. So you step out here and then you cross.
So now you're going to do this.
I'm
So,
gonna fall.
yeah, which side do you feel better? Do you feel better going forwards first or backwards? Not backwards. We're going forwards. Okay. And then you're going to take a second step.
Okay.
So you're going to basically twist, unwind. Beautiful. And so I'm going to back up while you're doing that. I will catch you if something goes wrong. Okay. I'm positive, Zach. I'm positive. I got witnesses if I don't. Ready? And drop. A little clunky, but not bad. Not bad. So that's what would happen, Si. So once we unlock that ability to do that, going back to the original reason for this, all of a sudden her brain says, oh, I could do this all day. It's fine. If I fall that way, I'll catch myself. And all of a sudden your balance gets so much better because your brain trusts you to protect yourself. So sometimes balance is not just a physical thing, it's a psychological thing, right? Interesting story on that note. I used to be a PT in California, and I had a lady who always came from Hawaii. So she came, I'd work on her in the summer times. We had a great time. And she used to tell me she liked walking up this volcano. And this volcano had a nice path, had rails and everything. Well, they were doing construction one time, And on her daily walk, they took all the rails down. She had terrible balance. Those rails were her lifeline when she was on that volcano. But she drove all the way there. She says, I'm going to do it, because she was stubborn. And then she starts going up, and she was a little wobbly at first. And she's like, I got to grab onto something. So she started just brushing her hand along the leaves and everything next to her. And all of a sudden, her balance was tremendously better. Her brain just thought there was something that could protect her. I forget exactly what it is, but like 9 grams of pressure or something. So if like Casey, stand on one leg, watch out behind you. Come over here. You got the bar behind you. If I give Casey just like almost nothing, her brain will feel safer and her balance will feel better. So a lot of balance is a psychological battle between, do you trust yourself or not trust yourself? Have you fallen before and are you scared of falling? Yeah.
Sure.
So if you've fallen before, that amount of protection that you need to feel goes up dramatically. You need to feel more protected before that anxiety of falling goes away.
Do those people benefit from pain?
Totally, yeah.
That's what the cane does.
Yeah, the cane is just so anything you use to get balance is called an assistive device, and there's so many levels and so many types depending on your situation. The cane gives you balance because as you put it down, it will give you balance. But for some people, they use it literally as like a safety blanket. It's just there in case they need it. I'm sure you guys seen it. Someone's walking down the hallway, they're literally carrying the cane. Like, why do they even have that thing?
Yeah.
They just feel safer. So yeah, that's how I test somebody. And then Sai, I'm glad you brought up the stepping and how you're going to save yourself sideways. So that would be kind of the next thing I would work on after all the balance. All right, I think that's most of the balance stuff. That was actually quite a bit of information. I apologize. Any questions on that?
One thing interesting, if someone is blind,
Yep.
that must affect them balance, not just worry about stepping up and the balance.
From birth or like it just happens?
Oh, no, yeah, no, somebody, for some reason, gets blind.
Becomes blinded, yeah.
Do they have to do PT or to help them?
Yeah, it would probably be good because all of a sudden you completely wipe out one of the 3 balance systems, right? And so many people are so dependent on their vision. That's how they cover up imbalances oftentimes. So if someone all of a sudden, like, they have advanced glaucoma, cataract, something, all of a sudden it just goes away. Let's say in a weird world that happens all of a sudden, that doesn't really happen, but all of a sudden they go blind. Yeah, you're probably going to need PT because you're going to have to learn how to use your other systems more effectively. You have to compensate, essentially. That does happen for people with like vestibular issues. So there used to be an antibiotic that people would get for certain sicknesses.
I'm sorry, antibiotics is what?
Sorry, my throat was getting a little dry. There used to be this antibiotic that some people get for whatever sicknesses they might have. I don't know exactly which ones they'd be. It was called gentamicin. And when they took it, it could actually knock out their vestibular system. It could literally destroy part of their inner ear, and they will lose the ability to balance. And those people would have to go to rehab to learn how to use their vision and their feeling and use their vestibular system, whatever's left, more effectively. Yeah, so when one system's knocked out, our job is to compensate for it. Correct it if we can. If you just need glasses, then go get glasses and we're good. But if it's knocked out like blindness or the vestibular system is damaged or you have neuropathy and you can't feel anything, well, we can't fix that stuff. But we can compensate for it and train around it. So yeah, gentamicin. I don't think they give it much anymore. It was causing so many vestibular issues.
There were other side effects too.
Yeah, well, I forgot you were a nurse. Yeah, so you remember that one though. Yeah, it can. It was a major side effect, and oftentimes people in vestibular rehab, that was at one point, you wouldn't really be surprised to see someone who had that. It would be one of the questions on a questionnaire. Have you had this before? Oh, well, we know what caused it. So, yeah. Any other questions? Anything I kind of didn't talk about? I'm sure I'm just going to talk all day, but.
Are you gonna ever talk to us about actually falling
Yep.
better?
I am. Yeah. So today is.
I mean, you're not afraid to fall. It's fun, but it makes it feel safe.
Yeah, so I have this thing I call the falling continuum. So the first part is your balance. Basically, you're standing normal, how your balance is before you fall, some of those stepping reactions. And then after that, once you lose your balance, you go to the actual fall, and then we have to get off the ground. So you have these 3 sections. I'm sure all of you guys have been to the doctor. Some of you have been to the doctor for balance problems. Have they ever told you once to learn how to fall? Have you ever heard of anybody learning how to fall? It doesn't happen, right? So in the medical world, we just miss this gigantic middle ground of why we're teaching people how to balance. Maybe if you're at a PT, they might teach you how to get off the ground. You're never going to learn how to fall. But if we learn how to fall correctly, no matter what your age is, if you just learn some principles of it, you might walk away with a bruise instead of a broken bone or a head injury or something. And so, yeah, it's very important. So what I'm going to do is today is all about balance. Next time, we're just going to talk about getting off the ground, and then we'll talk about the big stuff, falling, at the end of the month at some point, I believe. I can't remember it either, but I think it's like in 2 weeks because I'll be gone next week. But yeah, so those three components, if you even know basics on all that stuff, like today's balance, today was all about learning why you might be imbalanced, and you can kind of walk around and analyze yourself. Like, oh, Hattie kind of knows why she's veering now. We got to work on that right leg balance, right? And it doesn't take much. Maybe you just go to the bar and you walk sideways. You will get those hips a little stronger or something. Next time we'll talk about getting off the ground, because if you get stuck on the ground, which some people do, say they don't have their pendant, you're yelling, no one's around in the hallway, you could be stuck in your room for hours if you can't get up. So it's important to know how to get up. If not, just get to a safe place, crawl to a phone, whatever you got to do. And then falling, like Karen said, is super important because we can just prevent all the bad stuff if we know how to fall correctly. There you go. Any questions? Anything else? Thank you. Does anybody want to see Casey try this again?
Or me.
Me is pretty good. I know. Or is anybody crazy enough to want to try this?
Try
Try it.
You can do it in your shoes. You can do it in your shoes or barefoot. Don't do it in socks.
I was going to say. You can do it on your
Yeah, you can do it in shoes. Yeah, shoes are fine.
I was going to say.
All right, so I'm going to teach you how to do this real quick safely. You're going to think of your second toe, okay? So you got your big toe. Your second toe is going to go directly down the center of this bar. And all I want you to do is be ready to bail out towards that leg, do some tap dancing. I want you to just stand like that. Yep, or you can do this. Put your toe down. You're still balancing, but it's just a little hard, easier.
With my left,
Whatever. What do you kick with?
I don't know.
What's up? No one kicks balls in this room, huh?
Hey, when you play soccer.
Are you right-handed?
Yeah.
Stand with your left. Uh-oh, she's getting serious. I love how I talked about. I love how I talked about vision being important, and she goes, "I'm gonna have to get rid of the glass. We don't need to see. We don't need to see." I'll be right here for you. Stand nice and tall. You can float that leg now if you feel comfortable.
Oh.
Nice. Now you see how she's wobbling back and forth a little bit?
A whole lot.
A whole lot. Again, her brain's not used to this. This is tough. So it's saying,
You're pushing me that way.
well, do you want to see what happens if I don't? So what's happening is her brain is trying to figure out what muscles to turn on when, for how long, and in what order. That's what those wobbles are. Now, good news is, when you are training balance, if you're working with me, I'm actually trying to make you fail 25% of the time, because that means we're right in the sweet.
You're doing really good.
Am I? Look at this. Look at this. All right, Karen wants to do it by herself. Let's see what she can do. No pressure. There we go. There we go.
Oh.
Nice. You can put the second foot on if you want to try it. Good job. Now, the great thing is, working on your balance. I know I didn't talk much about actually how to work on balance today, so I apologize. If you want to learn a little bit of that, let me know. If she did this for about 10 minutes for a week, she's solid. She'd be able to go up and back.
For 10 minutes, you couldn't walk.
Yeah. It's pretty intensive.
That's why I volunteered you. I can't do it anymore.
So about 10 minutes a day, about 2 to 3 months of consistent balance
I wonder
work.
if it'd be easier if it was long.
You'd be able to cover it up with speed more, because you'd be able to run along it. There's an individual not in this room, but in this building I do a lot of balance with. He loves going fast. And he always says, I did great. I said, yeah, but you ran like it was Ninja Warrior, like you were going through an obstacle course.
It's definitely, I must be.
Well, your hip, remember those muscles I was talking about? Not used to doing this.
Feel your hip muscles tightening up
No,
in the balance.
hard to say.
You have a lot of information coming in. It's hard to even tell what's going on, right? So you can see Karen also does that cross step when she's coming off. Her brain allows her to play with this because she can cross over and catch herself. Ooh, nice. Oh.
One more time.
One more time. You got this. It's a little fun, right, Karen? You got to admit.
I think the squat I have.
Yeah, the squat was tough. Squat was tough. Good job. Good job. Give her a round of applause. Is anybody else crazy enough to try? No?
No, I'm on balance.
Off balance today?
Oh,
That's
no,
good.
I feel you walk straight.
I had a late
We'll
night.
take your word for it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that it isn't cheating to have shoes on.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to be mean to you.
No, but I mean, with your bare feet, I would think it would be.
So, okay, so let's talk about that. I guess that's a really good point. Shoes change your balance a lot. The modern shoe, if we all look at our shoes, most of us have pretty thick shoes on. Zelma does not. She's wearing slippers. You got you got heels on. Never mind. Take them back. I take them back. But when we have pads between our feet, we actually dull that sensation we get from our feet. So it's harder to balance for most people. The problem is all of us have been wearing these types of shoes for our entire life. We almost have no muscle in our feet. The arches of our feet, a lot of people have fallen arches. We get plantar fasciitis. We get heel problems. All of that's because your foot is just weak. And then what's the solution that we do? We give more support in the shoes. Next thing you know, you get weaker. You feel better, but you get weaker. Like breaking your arm, going into a cast, letting it heal, and then saying, I'm going to keep this cast on the rest of my life. You're just going to stay weak. It's not going to prepare yourself, right? So with shoes off, it's a little harder at first because you're not used to it. And on this bar, I would be honest, everybody here would have a lot of foot pain because it is hard. It is a metal bar if you're not used to it. But eventually you get these muscular feet. You get a little Arnold Schwarzenegger feet, and you can do anything, and it feels good while you're doing it, and you feel more balanced even in shoes. So shoes can be a hindrance or not. Usually, if I'm dealing with somebody who has really bad balance problems and they're comfortable with it, shoes off the whole time we're working on balance because we get the strength from the feet. They're not doing this, but standing and doing this kind of stuff. So it's good. Yeah, the more cushion there is, probably the less information you get, the harder it is to balance, especially if you have neuropathy or something. All right, I don't want to keep you all. It's lunchtime. Go for it. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it.